Some guy in Moscow dies and his son is reasonably upset, so he goes and builds some arc reactor-powered whips. More on this later because the Stark Expo is going on right now. The expo is literally just Stark's ego going crazy because he's been really successful as Iron Man over the past couple months. However, the United States government wants to put a stop to this because literally Tony Stark is carrying around a giant weapon in his pocket and nobody seems to care. However, Tony being Tony tells the government, "Lol YOLO, I do what I want." This obviously upsets the government as well as Justin Hammer. Don't feel bad if you don't remember who this is, nobody does. Tony also has a lot of other problems going on right now, such as the fact that he's being poisoned by his arc reactor that's saving his life, and his company seems to be falling apart. His solution? Give the company to Pepper. In the process of making Pepper CEO, Tony meets Natalie Rushman, this legal lady who ends up hanging around for totally unsuspicious UnShield related reasons. While talking to Natalie, Pepper, and Hammer, who decides to pop up out of nowhere, Tony decides to have another lol YOLO moment and go car racing. This foreseeably turns out badly as the Russian guy from the beginning of the movie shows up and starts beating Tony up. All it takes is a quick timeout for Tony to suit up, Pepper freaking out a lot and happy to hit the guy with his car in order to take care of him. Tony tries to interrogate the guy but gets nothing out of it except for a couple of threats. Later he does a Google search and finds out that the guy's name is Ivan and that his dad used to work with Stark Industries. It doesn't really matter though because now he's locked up in jail. 5 minutes later, Hammer breaks Ivan out of jail. The government's peeved that Tony won't let them have a suit, Stark Industries seems to be falling apart, and the entire press is wondering how Pepper is going to manage to take over the company, so Tony naturally decides to have a huge birthday party. Rhodey tries to beat some sense into Tony, ends up destroying a decent amount of Tony's house, and then steals the suit for the government. While Tony's busy having a pretty natural reaction to, dying and having his best friend turn on him, Fury decides to show up. Turns out that the assistant Natalie, who Tony hired at the beginning of the movie, is actually working for S.H.I.E.L.D. Wow! Fury's kind of against Tony dying right now, so he assigns Natalie and Coulson to be his temporary babysitters until Coulson has to run off to New Mexico for some reason. Wonder what that's about. Tony goes and watches a couple old films of his dad and realizes that his dad actually cared about him. This gives him enough inspiration to go and badger Pepper for a few minutes. Pepper is busy trying to run his company and is obviously peeved at Tony. So Tony does a quick backflip out of there and decides to just go make a new element thanks to his dad and an old map. Meanwhile, Ivan's not doing what Hammer wanted and Hammer's getting pretty peeved. Since he's kind of just doing whatever he wants right now, Ivan calls Tony and threatens him for about 5 minutes. So that leads to lol YOLO number 77 as Tony shoves the new element that he just created into his chest and busts out his suit. Tony flies out to Hammer's demonstration to put a stop to whatever scheme they're coming up with, but it's too late because Ivan has already taken over all the drones as well as War Machine, which is the suit that Rhodey is currently in. Oh no. Tony starts blowing stuff up while Pepper and Nat actually try to figure out what's going on. Can someone tell us what's going on? No. Okay, I'll talk. Nat runs off to do her spy stuff. Meanwhile, the drones are exploding the expo, so Tony is exploding them. There's a lot of explosions going on. Then Nat manages to reboot Rhodey's suit, and now he and Tony are both working to blow stuff up. Meanwhile, Pepper also finds out that Tony was dying and is reasonably upset. Pepper, yell at me later. I'm kind of fighting an army of drones right now. Tony and Rhodey move on to the boss level because Ivan shows up and he has bigger whips now. All it takes to defeat him though is a team-up combo explosion. The awesomeness of their combo makes all the drones spontaneously combust. This is awful. I think I did pretty good. Pepper tries to quit. Tony guilt trips her with a kiss. And finally, now that they have everything sorted out and everything's okay and Tony's no longer dying, Fury tells him that they don't want him as an Avenger. Yeah, Tony's definitely not going to be an Avenger anytime soon.